So today we're going to bring the highest scoring tactic we have ever shown on this channel, and trust me, you need to stick around to see the results. But if you do enjoy the tactics on this channel, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to myself, and please do turn on notifications. But let's waste no more time and go ahead right into the testing phase of this video. So we're going to kick things off then with Forest Green, obviously a team which are predicted to finish 24th, just to clarify, because what we actually done was absolutely incredible. We managed to win the division with 103 points compared to Ipswich Town with 98. So Ipswich Town are a very, very strong team in this division. So the fact we've come out and put on such a display against them is a real statement to how good this tactic actually is. It's a very attacking tactic, but it also does defend reasonably well as well. It's going to be Jamari Clark coming in with 34 goals and Charlie Savage with 14 assists. So in terms of the rest of the cups, it wasn't the best, but we've taken a team that is 24th place and won the league with them. If that doesn't say a lot about this tactic, I don't know what does. In terms of the actual data hub for this season, we're looking at 2.54 goals per game, conceded at 0.91, and a pass completion of 85%. Now, this isn't like a tiki-taka based tactic at all, but what it is, it's a goal scoring machine. Obviously, when I say that, this might not look like the most outrageous amounts of goals per game, but we are a team, a severe underdog, 24th place. So the fact we're scoring over 2.5 goals a game with the standard of plays that we've got at this club is absolutely incredible. And you'll see exactly how good this is when we get towards using the better teams, obviously, in the testing. But 2.54 goals per game, conceded at 0.91, an absolute joy to play with, and what a season. In terms of some of the league stats, it's going to be the ones you expect that we dominated the fields in, being the most points per game, the most goals, and also the most shots for. Now, one thing about this system is you are going to have lots and lots of shots. There's no real restrictions on the players. So obviously, the better quality players you have, the more chances they're going to go in. For example, on the edge of the box would be a great sort of example to use. But never fear, because you are going to get so many shots on target. Eventually, they're going to go in. And trust me, when you see the stats in terms of when we use the bigger teams, they absolutely blow my mind. So hopefully you guys are impressed, because I feel like this is genuinely one of the best attacking tactics this year. Going over the actual squad screen then, we are going to show you this. We've actually seen a nice variety of goal scorers. 38 coming in here, 22, 17, 17, 15, 14, 13, then 4 3-3. So a bit of a drop off there. But obviously, we did have a couple of players also that were loans that have gone back to their clubs now, which I would like to point out. And in terms of the assisters, we are looking at 16, 16, 14, 13, 12, 12, 8, 7, 6, 4, 4, as it goes on and on. Now, what we're noticing about this is obviously the amount of different players that are obviously getting involved with the goal scoring side of things and also the assistant side. And that is something we can expect, because at the end of the day, we are looking at a formation that is very attacking. Loads of different players can get the goals. Loads of different players can get the assists. So you can never really... It's a good thing not to rely on one player. And that's something you never have to worry about using this tactic. And as you can see by some of the actual attack and efficiency stats, we managed more shots than actually the average, including some of the top teams, like an Ipswich Town would be a very good shout, obviously coming second place, miles above them. And also, we're a lot more clinical than most other teams. So although I said we're going to have a lot of shots, it doesn't mean we're going to hit them from the halfway line. We do have the shots in a lot very scoreable areas. Obviously, otherwise this wouldn't be a stat we favour in. So a very, very good sign and a very, very good season. And we then got over to Sporting, and this was a very successful season as well, actually, because we obviously won the Portuguese Premier League. Not the best display in the Champions League, but we made up for it by winning Europa League against Bayer Leverkusen in a 3-0 final. We also won the Portuguese Cup, making it a treble-winning season. So a very good season out of us there. As you can see, the Portuguese League, there was no real competition at all. We absolutely walked it. In the Champions League, I'd say we had quite a tough group, so at least we managed to have some European success by winning Europa League, and to top it off, this third trophy here makes it a really, really, really impressive season. And in terms of the data hub, this is what we can now expect. So we are looking at better pass completion, 87.29%, goals per game sitting at 3.74, and conceded at 0.76. So the goals per game has literally skyrocketed towards the 4 mark, which is what we want to be seeing. And you are going to see the maxed out version of this with the last team we're going to test with. But you know what? This tactic really can do it all. It's not designed to be that defensively solid, to be honest. It's more of an outscoring tactic. But one thing which I've noticed is it can defend as well, because you still have got the back 4. You've got sort of a deeper player as well, so you're not overly vulnerable at the back either. And as always, we are going to go over 3 versions of this tactic also. But a sensational sort of performance just from looking at the data hub. Partner that alongside the trophies. What a season. Going over to some of the league stats, as you can see, most points per game, most goals, most shots for, fewer shots against, actually the best possession as well, which I was not expecting to have, fewest conceded, and also the most clean sheets. So dominating every single field apart from 3. So you can't really argue with that. And going over some of the squad players, we are now seeing how many goals this tactic can actually provide for you. We've got 37, 36, 23, 18, 17, 14, 10. So we're talking, you know, from this point onwards, why can't I click here? Okay, from this point onwards anyway, we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players with 10 or more goals in the season. Obviously, they're going to be the more attacking players, and it just shows the amount of people that do get involved with the goals. The wingers get involved, the attacking playmakers get involved, even the midfielders get involved. That's exactly what this tactic is all about. In terms of the assisters, we're seeing 31, 26, 19, 17, 16, 16, 9, 9, 7, 5, 4. I mean, there's absolutely tons of people contributing. Obviously, it is going to be Nuno Santos, a fantastic player with the highest amounts of assists with 31. So you can't really complain there. A great season from him. Also, Goncalves as well, a fantastic player. But overall, it's just really nice to see the amount of players that are getting involved. It's exactly the same story when we look at the attacking efficiency. We manage more shots than the average, and also most of the shots we take are more clinical. So that's always a good sign, because it shows that you're not just having pop shots at goal. You actually are taking your time. You're creating good chances, and that's what's going to win you games. I'll go a little bit deeper here, and we've looked at another stat line in terms of the actual score, and as you can see, we are huge outliners when it comes to the goals scored. We score more than the average team, and we produce a high number of non-penalty expected goals compared to the average. So we really are a step above everyone in the league, which is exactly what we want to be doing. And we're now going to watch one of the games that I did play. It is going to be the Europa League final against Bayer Leverkusen. It was a 3-0 win in the end, so quite comfortable, as we do win the ball back fairly high up here, or fairly low actually, when it does get played over the top. Edwards receives it, takes his time with it, a little touch inside, a great ball into Pedro, who touches it, a ball back into Morata, who hits it, and it's right at Lunev. But you are seeing how dangerous we are on the break. The matter of 2 to 3 passes, and we're right in behind their defensive line. They can't do anything about it either, which is how good this tactic is. It is so dangerous. You can see right now, from this position, Morata, he has got a through ball here if he wishes to play it. And we're already seeing this player getting loads of space in this area. We've got the overlap and fullback as well. There's so much space that is going on. But again, this could be an option he wishes to use. He goes back into Hector Bellerin, into Edwards. Great, actually, bit of part. This is probably why we got the possession. It is really good pass and play, this, to be fair. He goes long eventually into Pedro, who does it, and you know what? It's a good finish. It's a good finish into the near post, and it's always interesting to see, when you have this many players sort of forward, the amount of options that are available. It's very difficult for a team to defend, I will say that. And the thing is, the fact that we partner that alongside of not being defensively vulnerable as well, it really is the perfect tactic in my opinion. We do have a chance there though, however, from a set piece, but it is going to be Schlick who does actually put it over the bar. So luckily, we didn't find ourselves tied up, because the final could have been completely different there. We're going to play out from the back now with Quartes, taking his time on the ball into Bellerin. Number 15 here, making quite a good option in the middle. But he goes out wide into Edwards. Is he going to run down the line? He's going to cut inside, something which obviously this side is told to do. He attempts a long ball. It doesn't work this time. But however, we do look like we're going to win it back possibly. You're seeing the press coming in now. I mean, we're seeing a two-man press, Agate coming over to try and intercept from Palacios. And he actually does. He wins it back, loses it again. Edward wins it back into Quartes, into Hector Bellerin, back into Edwards, building up the play very well here. Into Agate, back into Quartes, just building it up very patiently. Back into Edwards, cutting inside again. He does lose it this time, however. And they are going to have quite a decent spell of possession here. Hinsapi, Edwards is desperate to win it back, make up for his mistake. Back into Florian Wirtz, a ball over the top. And it is actually a really good ball. Hudson-Odoi just skies it there. So we are seeing a couple of chances going by Leverkusen's way, but nothing too serious. Nothing that we really need to worry about. Another ball in, it goes onto the edge into Diaby. Is this going to be another Bayer Leverkusen chance? That is the question. Patrick Schick's in absolute acres of space right now. He's forced to go back, though, because of the press. A very good bit of pressing coming in from us there. Jeremy Frimpong now on the ball. Tar picks up it, intercepts Oba, into Florian Wirtz, into Diaby. A good bit of play. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. It is great play from Bayer Leverkusen, but eventually it's cleared from Iheanacho, and we are away. Into Edwards, a ball over the top, and this is the counter-attack which I was on about. This is what we can expect, and although he missed it, he hit the post. That is how lethal we are on the counter-attack. A couple of passes, and we are right in behind, and it should have been a goal. But obviously, Trincao, one of these downfalls is not necessarily the best at finishing. So, you know, if you have got a very good sort of finishing winger, that possibly could have went in. But we are going to see another bit of build-up play here from Bayer Leverkusen. But again, the pressing coming in, Trincao is not messing about now. One thing he does have in his locker is a ton of pace. Driving out to the left-hand side, an option back in the middle, into Nuno Santos, our top assister this season. Back into Morata. It's such good play. And what a goal that is. It's absolutely liquid football. A deserved second goal, in my opinion. We've had a couple of very good chances. Nuno Santos tucking it in. Great link-up play. Obviously, that initially come from Trincao driving all the way out to the left-hand side. And, you know, putting it back and actually getting some form of a chance at goal. And when you've got this many people forward, you are going to score a lot of goals. That should have been another one. You could argue right now we should actually be like 4-0 up, and I think that is more than fair to say. They do have a chance here, though, however, which again is skied. I'm going to be real. I'm a realist. They probably should have had a goal from set pieces alone this game, but if you don't bury your chances, you're never going to know what could be, and luckily for us, they didn't do that. Inacio now building up the ball over the top this time into Arta. Is he going to get there? Is he going to press him? It's back into Lunev. All over the top into Stindl. Number 25 should get there. He's left it to Quartes. Quartes as well at back. Oh, this is good play. This is really good play. I'm liking the aggression, liking the press. Back into Adem, into Sunt, back into Quartes. This is great play. We're very good with the ball as well. And you know what? This isn't designed to be sort of a tiki-taka tactic, but it just shows that we can really do it all. A great run from 10 here. That is why he always is told to come inside, because them runs he's going to make now, he is essentially, if this ball gets played to him how I think it's going to, I believe it does actually, it does, and he plays it for Ibe. Yep, I remember it now, into Rashina, and he's just going to hit it across the goal, and that is going to be the game pretty much done. Wrapped up 3-0, and the Europa League coming back with us. What a game. And we're now going to test it with the powerhouse of the save, and that is going to be with PSG, where we won the French League, the French Cup, and the Trophy de Champion, and we absolutely destroyed the French League. 108 points, which, to be honest, is to be expected, but I had to test with a team like this just to see how many goals we could really get, maxing out this tactic to the absolute limits. Obviously, some of the players this team have got are absolutely incredible, and when we go over to that squad screen, it is going to blow your mind. But in terms of the actual league stats, we're going to dominate the most points per game, most goals, fewest shots against, most shots for, most possession, fewest conceded, and also the most clean sheets. So nearly taking every single stat line apart from 3. An incredible season for an incredible team. And going over some of the actual squad screen, you can see right now how good it's going to be. We're looking at 86 goals here, 48, 29, 17, 16, 12, 11, 8, 6, 4, 4, 3, 2, you know. It's an absurd amount of goals. It really is. An absolute ton of goals, and something we do love to see. In terms of the assisters, again, we're going to see a very familiar pattern. 40, 29, 22, 20, 16, 14, 14, 11, 9, 9. You mean, it's absolutely outrageous. We have got some of the best talent in the world, I must say. But I like to include a team like this because for you boys that are playing as these sort of teams, or possibly you played a save for like 5 to 10 years and you built up a team of this standard, this is what you can expect. So we are now going to break down the tactic, but before we do, please do leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, and also do comment below on what tactic you wish to see next. We're doing a lot of options on the community page right now, so I would recommend, if you've got a moment, go over and vote on some of the stuff, because it does decide on what content you get to see. But let's go ahead and break down this fantastic goal scoring tactic. So this is going to be the goal scorer machine tactic. Now we have got 3 variants as always. If you're a Patreon member or Twitch subscriber, you can download all 3 variants, but don't worry, you don't have to be, because we do go over every single one anyway, and that's the reason we do that. But I do want to quickly thank all the names that are floating down the screen right now. They are the current or new Patreon members. You can sign up to the Patreon. The link is in the description. There are some pretty cool rewards as well. But let's go ahead and talk about this tactic and the initial thoughts. So it is going to be a very attacking tactic, and I want to talk about the tactical style. So it is based around the tiki-taka, although it's not really going to play like your traditional possession-based sort of, you know, average. You know, you're not going to get 70% possession, anything crazy like that, because it's not laid up for it to be like that. In terms of the mentality, now the mentality could be attacking. I want to put on the screen right now the data hub sort of statistics from the PSG season. As you can see, 4.34 goals per game. We're looking at 25.53 shots per game and 87% pass completion. Now, what this tells me is we don't need to go over that, because at the end of the day, when you're scoring over 4 goals a game, you have to be happy with that. I feel like going attacking on the rip in games, it's just going to make you too vulnerable. It's not going to be a good option at all. And I feel like doing that, you're going to concede way too many goals to almost outscore them. So I would not look to go above positive unless you're desperate for a goal, which we are going to talk about later in the video. But definitely when you start into a game, just go on positive. That's all you need. Going into the in possession tab, we've got fairly narrow, pass into space, play out of defense, much shorter, a higher tempo, be more expressive, and work ball into the box alongside of low crosses. Now, if you really want to maximize your goals, you could take off the work ball into the box. The only reason I didn't favour for this is because it is a very attacking formation, and I felt like a lot of the shots, if you don't have this ticked, you don't have this on, are going to be wasted. They're not going to be the most sort of accurate shots, so it's 50-50, because you could also argue that more shots equals more goals, but from what I personally tested with, it's a lot better to have the work ball into the box on. In transition, you want counter press, counter, because when you counter with this team, you can see the players that get involved. They have got no hope in stopping it. Distribute quickly, distribute to the fullbacks and the centre-backs alongside of take short goal kicks. You saw in the highlights on, I think, 3 or 4 occasions, we play out from the back very, very well with this system. So I would recommend having it not only to the centre-backs, but to the fullbacks as well. And out of possession, we've got a standard defensive line, a high press line of engagement, much more often, and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. So fairly basic team instructions, but they get the job done. Now, when you look at this tactic, you might think, I'm going to be vulnerable at the back. You know, we haven't got exactly a stacked midfield. It is very similar to a 4-1-4-1, except we've got one more in midfield who obviously does drive up into this area here. But what I want to quickly show you is going to be the defensive display from PSG, and it is really incredible. And also, we've seen the other defensive stat lines, and they were also really good as well. But PSG, you're looking right now, 0.39 conceded per game and 23.84 interceptions per game. So we did not struggle at all with this defensive tactic. Over 3 saves that we done, all different standards as well. Obviously, we tested with a team which were bottom of the pile, underdogs, 24th place predicted, I believe. Then we tested with a team that were one of the best in the league, and then we tested with a team that are definitely the best in the league. And all of them defended completely fine, so you've not got to worry about that at all, in my opinion. And we're now going to go over the player roles, which are a nice mixture. So let's kick things off then with the sweeper keeper on ease off tackles on support. Then have a wing back on automatic, aim the crosses at the centre, dribble less, shoot less often and stay wider. A ball playing defender on the right on defend, default instructions. On the left, exactly the same, nice and easy, simply default. And on the left hand side, we've got another wing back on automatic, aim the crosses at the centre, dribble less, shoot less often and also stay wider. Moving on to the midfield, we've got a deep lying playmaker on nice and easy default instructions. If you're wondering why I didn't want him to go more direct, because I felt like the passes were simply wasted, and also I didn't really want him dribbling more or dribbling less. So to be honest, default worked really well. Going over to the central midfielder, we've got an attacking one on dribble more and move into channels. This is perfect because he does obviously play here, but he will drive up into this area here occasionally, which essentially makes it a 4-1-4-1, which is a very good attacking tactic as well. So it does sort of transition in between the two, which is really good to see. Now, we want to talk about the left-hand side of player, the inside forward on attack, on shoot more often, stay wider, obviously an inside forward on the attacking duty. And we're going to talk about 2 players right now. These are going to be Neymar's stats that are going to be on the screen right now. We're looking at 48 goals, 29 assists, and a 7.97 average match rate. And so I'm going to start doing this in the tactics because a lot of you guys always ask, can I do this with this role? Would this player suit this? So it always helps to show you sort of the output of the players. And as you can see, Neymar had an incredible season. But also, we're going to be looking right now at Goncalves, obviously from Sporting, 36 goals, 26 assists with a 7.82 match rate. And so those are 2 players we used in that role, and they both played absolutely incredible. Obviously, Neymar done a little bit better. He's at PSG. He is the better player. But just to show you that, you know, even with slightly worse players, still a very good player nevertheless, they can get really good stat lines. And going over to the right-hand side, we're going to have a winger on attack, on aim the cross at the centre and shoot more often. And again, we're going to look right now, Lionel Messi enjoying a fantastic season with PSG, 29 goals, 40 assists and a 7.86 average match rating. I mean, it is Lionel Messi at the end of the day, but it's always interesting to see how well these players do in their certain roles. And going over to another player, which is going to be Trincao, the player which we weren't too happy with his finishing, sort of proved me wrong because he scored 37 goals across the entire season. He also got 9 assists and partnered that with a 7.45 average match rate. And so we're just showing that both wingers actually played a massive role in this system and both contributed massively. In terms of the shadow striker, that is going to be on attack, on the default instructions, because these default ones is exactly what we want them to do. We don't really want them, for example, to be staying wider because we've got a wide player already. We don't really want them running wide because, again, we've got a wide player. But it's just something we don't really need. And to finish it off, the advanced forward on attack on shoot more often. And again, we are going to show who it is, the king himself, Kylian Mbappe. There's only 1 point showing him, and that is going to be 86 goals, 22 assists, and 8.39 average match rate. And so an incredible season from him. It is Kylian Mbappe, but I will say we did show all the other squad stats as well, and strikers were enjoying this tactic a lot. So in my opinion, whatever team you are, you can expect goals with this, and it really is a complete tactic. But that is going to be obviously the default tactic, the original one, the one which we did all the testing with. We are now going to talk over an attacking variant and a defensive variant. I would recommend downloading all three of these. So let's go ahead then. The attacking variant, there is going to be a bit of a change. So we do go attacking right off the rip. I'm going to throw that out there. In terms of the actual player roles, it does stay the same. And that is because the formation's already attacking. I feel like making it any more attacking it's just not a good idea. In my opinion, it's not a good idea. So we've kept everything exactly the same in terms of the instructions, in terms of everything. We just changed the mentality. In terms of the actual in possession, it's going to be exactly the same. In transition, it's going to be exactly the same. And the out of possession, we actually have opted to have a higher defensive line. Something we didn't do with the previous one. Now, this is going to make it very, very, very attacking. But this is sort of the tactic you'd switch to if you desperately need a goal, sorry. So if you are chasing a game, you're begging for a goal, this is exactly what you want to be doing. And now going over to the defensive variant, this is the one you want to use if you are defending out a game. If you're in the lead, 10-20 minutes left of the game, you want to switch to this one. So we're going to have the wingers actually drop back to support. Again, I will show the instructions, but they are going to stay very similar, if not the same. And the shadow striker does actually change to an advanced playmaker on support, just to drop back a little bit. The back line stays the same, the midfield stays the same. We've kept one attacker midfielder in there because we don't want to completely be isolated and, offer nothing going forward. The mentality drops to balanced. In possession, you are going to see the time waster is going to be set to frequently. We've also unticked a couple of options off here. This is obviously, the reason why I wouldn't go in like this is because the tactic isn't designed to be played as a defensive tactic. So that is why you're going to see time wasting on, because I would say only use this if you are defending the last 10-20 minutes of the game and you want to see it out. In transition, we've simply got slow pace down on. Everything else remains the same. We still want to be a pressing team. We still want to counter, so those have to be on. And out of possession, we've simply gone back to the standard line. Still got the press on because this tactic's never going to be a sort of 5 at the back job. So it is still a very intense tactic, but it is going to be also very defensively solid. And those are going to be 3 variants of what, in my opinion, is one of the best attacking tactics I've actually used this FM. There are some good ones that are based from other creators as well, but this one was a ton of fun to make and use. Hope you guys do enjoy it, and if you have enjoyed today's video, please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, and please do get commenting on more videos you want to see. I'll see you boys in the next video, which will be on Tuesday.